It's personal between me and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, interesting stuff coming out the heavyweight division. This is a follow-up video to my last video I did on the subject, talking about Andy Ruiz and one Filip Hrgovic. Now, you guys know we're big supporters here on True School Sports of Filip Hrgovic. And I feel like he's been done wrong. He's been done wrong by the politics of boxing. You know, he's a guy that's in a very interesting stage of his career right now, and he's still looking for that big fight to validate a lot of the hype that he had coming into the pros from the amateurs, you know. And you know, a lot of these guys don't want to fight him, and they hide behind the business of boxing and money. And you know, it looks like the Andy Ruiz-Deontay Wilder fight, for the time being, has fallen apart. So this frees Andy Ruiz to take the fight with Filip Hrgovic that was ordered by the IBF for the interim title. Now, Jake Donovan, shout out to him. He's one of the best in the business, one of the best boxing writers there is. He works hard, and I really respect him. Jake Donovan put out an article talking about how the IBF and Hrgovic Ruiz fight was ordered for purse bid, and how basically this fight being ordered for purse bid, it contradicted their own rules for the interim title. Now, Jake Donovan talked to the IBF, and the IBF stated pretty much that the request for the interim title by Hrgovic was approved for Ruiz on the basis that a mandatory challenger can be waiting as long as 2 years to get a title shot, and he's been waiting, what, he just became mandatory in August, so we're only, what, maybe 6 months or so, 5-6 months into him being mandatory challenger. So, you know, he requested this fight. The IBF has granted him this fight. Now it's up to both parties involved to come to an agreement. The IBF can review these things on a case-by-case basis, and you know, we'll see what happens. But like, hopefully this fight can happen. Like, this fight needs to happen. Andy Ruiz, I feel like, even though he beat Luis Ortiz and it's a good win, I still feel like he's got to prove himself as one of the top guys in the division. Hrgovic needs to prove himself as one of the top guys in the division and really make up for what was a pretty lackluster fight in the Zhang fight. Yeah, he has a lot to prove from what happened with the Zhang fight. And, you know, where Hrgovic trains, Mundo Boxing Gym, it's not too far from where I live. So, you know, I go there on a pretty consistent basis. And what I can tell you about just being around him, just like consistently since like December of last year to now, just going through my little gym visits, he's pissed off for greatness. He really feels like he's felt how fickle this boxing game can be, and I know that he's pissed off to really prove himself, not just more so to himself than the world, because he knows he's better than he showed in the Zhang fight, and he really wants this Andy Ruiz fight. I know he wants, whether it's Andy Ruiz, whether it's Joshua, whether it would have been Usyk, he's just pissed off to make a statement, because this is a guy that was a blue chip amateur. This is the guy that was the reason why the Tyson Fury David Haye fight didn't happen, because he beat the shit out of David Haye in sparring, and you know, all the cuts didn't allow him to fight Tyson Fury at that time. This is the guy that beat up Deontay Wilder, or not beat him up, but you know, did his thing in sparring against him when he was like a kid, and Wilder was in the pros already. You know, this is a guy that can really fight at a high level. And you know, I'm saying this as somebody who's not just a fan of him, but saying this as a guy who's been exposed to a lot of things in sparring. I've seen him do things in sparring. I've seen him spar different fighters with different looks, smaller guys who can move, taller guys who can bang. You know, and I've seen what he can do, and I know that I'm looking at one of the best heavyweights in the world. Whether or not he becomes champion, that's up to him. But I know I'm looking at one of the best heavyweights in the world, and I want him, just like any fighter. Every fighter deserves their shot at glory. I feel like due to him being from Croatia, which isn't a boxing hotbed, which doesn't have like a lot of big international TV money behind him per se, that you know, he is a high risk, low reward fighter, which I hate using that term because that's how like promoters and managers talk. But like, he's a guy that would, you know, these fighters, they know they're gonna get hurt. They know they're gonna take some damage, and they know it's gonna be a hard fight. So they want to be compensated accordingly, and I can't blame them for that. But as the boxing fan to me is like, yo, you guys aren't just fighting Hrgovic in a one-off fight. You're fighting Hrgovic in a fight that will get you a mandatory spot. So like stop being a coward. You know, if you think he's not that good, you can beat him, and you really had that conviction and that belief in your skills, and you fight him, you beat him, and you're right there for a title shot. Simple as. But you know, these guys have managers and people, so they're gonna do what they feel is in the best interest of their fighters. But that's the news, guys. Andy Ruiz wants this fight supposedly. Hrgovic wants this fight supposedly, and the IBF, due to all the stagnation at the top, and due to Hrgovic already being kind of screwed over, because he really should have been mandatory a lot earlier than he became, but he couldn't get the fights because like a gajillion guys turned the fights down, including Andy Ruiz. So now it's gotten to a place where it's like, okay, he's gonna fight Ruiz. There's this opportunity to fight him now that the Wilder fight isn't happening, at least not next. Ruiz has a chance to beat Hrgovic and get back on the fast track his damn self and become, you know, interim champion, which would then make him mandatory, which would then, you know, I think, because unlike Hrgovic, what Ruiz has going for him that Hrgovic doesn't, unfortunately, is that he is Mexican, or he has Mexican descent. So a lot of Mexican fans like him, and he's a likable guy. I mean, I love Andy Ruiz. I'm a fan. There's not a whole lot to not like about Andy Ruiz. He's a fun fighter. He's a likable guy. He speaks well. But what is there to really hate about Andy Ruiz? Gives you good fights when he's in the ring most of the time. So just so long as he's in shape, he's a fun guy to watch. And you know, if he's able to get into a mandatory spot and beat a Hrgovic, then I feel like he's gonna really be on a fast track to getting a title shot, and maybe he gets his chance and his moment at glory to prove to the world, if he can be Hrgovic, of course, that he is better than the guy that lost the title in the second Joshua fight, and it will give him the chance to win the titles back, and he can become the two-time heavyweight champion of the world. And that would obviously be a big deal for Andy Ruiz and his career, and that's what I'm sure he's shooting for at this moment in time. But what a great fight it would be. This is a fight that I really hope gets made before Fulton, Illinois, before I have to go to Japan, because I want to go to this fight. I want to go there. I want to be there to cover it. I want to be there to support my guy Hrgovic, and not just to support Hrgovic, but to support a great heavyweight fight. You know, to support Andy Ruiz as well for being one of the guys that's been a mainstay in this division for the last, you know, half decade plus. You know, been doing this thing for a while. So that's the news. It looks like things are moving in the right direction. Hrgovic wants to fight. Ruiz wants to fight. The IBF is allowing the fight to happen only because both fighters requested for this fight, because they can't get fights. You know, Ruiz can't get the fight he really wanted at first with what's his name, Wilder, and Hrgovic just wants to fight. He don't care who it is at this point. He could fight. You know, if the IBF put me in the rankings and I was a heavyweight, Hrgovic would fight me. That's just really where it's at right now, because a lot of these guys, you know, they turn down fights with him for whatever reason. You could say money, you could say whatever it is. Personally, I just think they don't believe in themselves. That's just me. But that's just me. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Hrgovic, Ruiz, it looks like we are moving in the right direction. So yeah, leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dang It. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this video, click right here and make sure you subscribe. Much love from sunny South Florida.